On January 25, 1904, an explosion 200 feet underground rocked the Harwick coal mine, 15 miles north of Pittsburgh. 180 miners were working there on that bitterly cold day. Immediate calls for aid went out, and mine engineer Selwyn Taylor quickly responded. He and others entered the mine and brought 16-year-old Adolf Gunia to the surface. He was the only one of the miners to leave the mine alive. Selwyn Taylor tragically did not survive the rescue mission. He died soon after from the effects of the toxic gases. In another rescue attempt the next day, coal miner Daniel Lyle entered the mine despite the known dangers, but he too perished. 181 men died in the Harwick mine disaster. News of this awful tragedy traveled around the world. In a 64-room mansion in New York's Upper East Side, it caught the attention of Andrew Carnegie, the world's richest man. The deaths of the miners and the rescuers touched him so deeply that he would create an organization that would be, in his own words, without parallel in the history of human benevolence.
When he set up the commission, Carnegie focused on something that was of enduring value to human beings, and it's just as valuable today.
So we received a call from one of the folks that worked with the FAA, and he said, "I think we're missing an aircraft."
As I approached the river, the overwhelming thing was that this was as desperate as a scene could be. I was thinking that I have to try something, and so I just kept running until I got to the edge of the river, and then I just hopped in. I could live with myself if I attempted to do something and failed on that occasion. Even if I didn't survive it, I could figuratively live with that. If I did nothing, I don't know if I could live with that.
Heroes are people who put themselves in danger of life or serious injury to save the life of someone else. We ask, did they leave a place of safety? Did they put themselves in danger of death or serious injury? And the subsidiary question, did they understand that? And finally, did they do it to rescue another human being?
As I was making my way out toward them, I was yelling to them that I was coming out, because the object of this whole thing was to give them some measure of hope. If I could just buy them a little time, maybe somebody could do something. Maybe not me, but somebody could.
We shot an approach into the main wreckage area and immediately saw someone struggling in the water. We weren't really sure how long they'd been in the water, but we knew that time was critical.
So I told Don, well, let's go in right on top and pick this lady up, because it seems she's having some problems. So he did a magnificent job of putting me right on top of her, and my end of the skid I was standing on out there went under the water, and that just allowed me, when I leaned over and got a hold of her, I could just float her right up on the skid with me.
Right away, he told me that we were taking on water and that the back of the aircraft was going into the water. So I had to compensate for his weight plus her weight to make sure the tail rotor didn't touch the water surface. And as soon as he said go, then I went. As we approached the shoreline, the rotor system was at forehead level. So we had to raise an altitude to not kill people on the shoreline.
They had dropped two lines from the helicopter. One girl grabbed one of them, then there was a man and a girl grabbed the other one. The guy's hanging onto the buoy and the girl's hanging on to him. And the helicopter starts coming towards the bank. First girl falls off, then second girl falls off, and she's on a slab of ice. She grabs the buoy again, with both hands, starts towards the bank, minute she comes off the ice slab, one of the arms comes out of the buoy. At that second, I'm taking my boots and my coat off, and I've decided I'm going in after her. So I make my way to the embankment, dive in the water, swim out to her, position myself behind her the best way I could. So I just grabbed her, give her a little push, get her head above water, and then firemen waded in, grabbed her, and then I swam off to the side, and that was mission accomplished.
10 minutes, that's all it was. I think a hero is somebody who does something because something inside wakes up and says, you've got to do that. And what they do is positive, and it does something, it changes somebody's life. I think that's a hero.
I think the important thing in acknowledging heroic acts, heroic people, is that people come to see that the ones that they're looking up to as heroes are really no different from themselves, and that everyone has the capability of doing extraordinary things under extraordinary circumstances, and more importantly, that even under circumstances that are not extraordinary, that we all have the capability of helping each other, and we're at our best when we do that.
Our heroes are as different among themselves as all human beings are, but if there's a theme that runs through their reactions, it's a little bit of surprise and a little bit of humility, a little bit of disbelief that what they did was so very special. But one of the nice things about the commission and the award is that we're there to say, oh yes, it was special.
The Carnegie Hero Fund Commission awarded its first medal to 17-year-old Louis Bauman, who in 1904 saved a childhood friend from drowning. In 1956, Dorothy Koch was honored for saving 2 policemen during a shootout in a Cleveland nightclub. Dorothy was struck by a bullet and paralyzed for life. World-ranked boxer Rudell Stitch is one of only 4 people to have received the Carnegie Medal twice, in 1958 and again in 1960. He was involved in rescues near a dam on the Ohio River in Louisville, Kentucky. He and the victim survived the first, but both died in the second. Over its history, the Carnegie Hero Fund has awarded the Carnegie Medal to thousands of individuals who have risked their lives on behalf of others, and has distributed millions of dollars in grants, tuition, and other financial assistance to them and their families. It is an enormous legacy, representing thousands of lives saved, thousands of children who would be born and raised, work that would be done. The power and dignity of these actions resonates to this day when new heroes walk among us. On a busy street corner, Andy Johnson disarmed and subdued a man attacking a young woman with an 8-inch meat cleaver.
People always ask me why I did it, and I think it's because they're trying to figure out whether or not they would do it themselves.
When a sniper opened fire on her college campus, Holly Garlitz ran out into the line of fire to pull a wounded classmate to safety.
Things could have turned out so differently that day, but it's made me grateful for everything that I have.
While attending a ball game, Ramonda Freeman rescued a wounded boy from the middle of a gunfight between rival gangs.
He was just a kid, and I'm a mom, and I wasn't going to just leave him.
Helicopter pilots Kevin Caffrey and Jeffrey Miller executed a perilous and technically challenging rescue of a woman clinging to a small tree in the Niagara River.
When we get a call to go up in Niagara Falls, you're certainly your heart skips a beat. All it takes is one mistake.
What do the heroes have in common? It can be said about all of them that they have an ethic of caring. In one single inspired moment, one selfless act, they put another's life ahead of their own.
When you look back over our history, you see the medals and the people who won them. You think about the people whose lives were saved, the lives that were lost. It seems massive, but the thing we always remember is it was done one rescue at a time, one decision at a time, by one individual. And that's what we're honoring.
I do not expect to stimulate or create heroism by this fund, knowing well that heroic action is impulsive. The Hero Fund is for watching, applauding, and supporting the heroic action, wherever displayed and by whomever displayed. At least this is my hope.